High above the endless blue of the world's oceans, a thunderous roar once echoed across the skies, the unmistakable scream of the F-14 Tomcat. It was not merely a machine, it was a statement of dominance, a masterpiece of power and grace that defined an entire generation of naval aviation. But the story of the Tomcat was never one of easy triumph. It was born out of desperation, out of a military crisis that threatened to cripple the United States Navy's ability to defend its carrier fleets during the height of the Cold War. In the late 1960s, the U.S. Department of Defense was pursuing the Tactical Fighter Experimental, or TFX program, an ambitious idea meant to create one aircraft for both the Navy and the Air Force. The result, the F-111B, was an overweight, underpowered failure. It couldn't operate safely from carriers, nor could it outmaneuver enemy fighters. The Navy's future looked uncertain, until Grumman Aerospace stepped in with a proposal that would change everything. They envisioned a fighter that could intercept Soviet bombers from hundreds of miles away, yet still dance through the air in close combat. That vision became the F-14 Tomcat, a machine that would soon evolve from a desperate gamble into one of the most revered fighter jets ever built. When it took its first flight in December 1970, the Tomcat didn't just rise from the runway, it soared into history, signaling to the world that American airpower had found its new champion. What made the F-14 so special was not only its appearance, though even standing still, it looked predatory, its stance low and wide like a cat ready to pounce, but the revolutionary design beneath its skin. The Tomcat was a feat of engineering that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in the 1970s. Its most striking innovation was the variable geometry wing system. The wings could automatically sweep back as the aircraft accelerated, optimizing lift and drag for every speed and maneuver. When extended, they provided incredible control during takeoff, landing, and dogfights. When swept back, they transformed the Tomcat into a supersonic missile interceptor capable of speeds beyond Mach 2. Coupled with twin Pratt & Whitney TF-30 turbofan engines and later the more powerful GE F-110S, the Tomcat possessed both speed and endurance. But its true brain was the N/AWG-9 radar system, an engineering marvel that could track up to 24 enemy targets at once and engage 6 simultaneously with AIM-54 Phoenix missiles, each capable of striking targets over 100 miles away. This made the F-14 the world's first true long-range air superiority fighter. The radar intercept officer, seated behind the pilot, coordinated electronic warfare, targeting, and weapons, creating a seamless two-man team that turned the cockpit into a mobile command center. Every element of the Tomcat's design reflected a single philosophy: dominance at all ranges, in all conditions, from the flight deck to the edge of the stratosphere. Yet even legends are not born perfect. The early years of the F-14 program were riddled with challenges, cost overruns, and tragic accidents. The first prototype crashed in 1970, forcing Grumman engineers to rethink the aircraft's control systems and improve its reliability. Pilots described the Tomcat as a wild beast, thrilling to fly but utterly unforgiving of mistakes. Its engines, especially the TF-30S, were notoriously prone to compressor stalls at high angles of attack, leading to sudden loss of control. Training squadrons at NAS Miramar, the legendary Fightertown, USA, became crucibles where young aviators learned to master the beast. But those who did, never forgot the experience. Veterans often recalled that nothing compared to the sensation of catapulting off a carrier deck at dawn in a Tomcat, the roar of afterburners vibrating through the cockpit, the sea fading beneath, and the sky opening up in infinite blue. The bond between pilot and radar intercept officer was sacred. Survival depended on trust, communication, and instinct. Together, they transformed a mechanical marvel into a living extension of their will. Every flight was a test of skill and courage, and every landing, especially at night on a pitching carrier deck, was a moment of triumph. The Tomcat demanded excellence and repaid it with loyalty, speed, and glory. The F-14's legend was forged not only in training but in the fires of real combat. Ironically, some of its first and most decisive kills came not from American pilots, but from Iranian ones. Before the 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran purchased 79 F-14s from the U.S., making it the only foreign operator. When the Iran-Iraq War erupted in the 1980s, those Tomcats became Tehran's shield against waves of Iraqi MiGs and Mirages. Despite limited parts and maintenance, Iranian F-14s dominated the skies, reportedly scoring over 50 aerial victories, a testament to the jet's design and lethality. Meanwhile, U.S. Navy F-14s were constantly active during the Cold War, intercepting Soviet bombers approaching carrier strike groups, shadowing Tu-95 Bears, and collecting intelligence. The aircraft saw action in the Gulf of Sidra, where it shot down Libyan fighters in 1981 and 1989, and later in Operations Desert Storm, Southern Watch, and Enduring Freedom. Each mission reinforced the Tomcat's reputation as a versatile, deadly, and resilient platform. Yet perhaps its most powerful moment came not in battle, but in culture. The 1986 film Top Gun turned the Tomcat into a legend beyond military circles. Its sleek design, roaring engines, and dazzling aerial choreography captured imaginations around the world, transforming the F-14 into a symbol of heroism, speed, and the American dream. Still, time and technology never stop. By the 1990s, newer aircraft like the F-15 Eagle, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and eventually the F-18 Super Hornet began to challenge the Tomcat's dominance. The Navy struggled with the jet's high maintenance costs, over 40 hours of service for every flight hour, and the aging TF-30 engines. Yet the Tomcat refused to fade quietly. Engineers upgraded its radar, avionics, and engines, giving birth to the F-14D Super Tomcat. This version replaced analog systems with digital computers, added new precision strike capabilities, and transformed the aircraft from a pure interceptor into a multi-role fighter bomber. The Tomcat became capable of dropping laser-guided bombs, performing reconnaissance, and conducting precision strikes deep into enemy territory. During the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, it proved invaluable, a symbol of old-school power seamlessly integrated into modern warfare. Even as stealth fighters like the F-22 and F-35 emerged, the Tomcat's agility, range, and sheer intimidation factor kept it relevant longer than anyone expected. It was a veteran among machines, aging but unbeaten. By 2006, the inevitable day came. The U.S. Navy officially retired the F-14 Tomcat, marking the end of an era in carrier aviation. Its replacement, the F divided by a -18E divided by F Super Hornet, was more efficient and easier to maintain, but to many pilots, it lacked the soul of the Tomcat. On its final flight, the F-14 lifted gracefully from NAS Oceana, leaving behind a trail of history, nostalgia, and pride. Yet the legend refused to die. In Iran, a small fleet of F-14 still flies to this day, maintained through ingenuity, cannibalized parts, and sheer determination. Aviation museums preserve its sleek frame as a monument to Cold War innovation. For those who once flew or worked on it, the F-14 remains more than an aircraft. It is a memory, a sound, a feeling, the thunder of twin engines, the whisper of wings sweeping back, and the knowledge that you are part of something truly extraordinary. Even after its retirement, the Tomcat continued to inspire new generations of engineers, filmmakers, and dreamers who saw in it the perfect fusion of beauty and power. Today, in the age of stealth and artificial intelligence, the F-14 Tomcat stands as a relic, but also as a reminder of what human creativity can achieve when imagination meets necessity. It was built not for comfort or cost, but for capability. It symbolized an age when engineers dared to take risks, when pilots felt the sky in their bones, and when nations defined power not by silence but by the roar of jet engines. The Tomcat's spirit lives on in the heart of every pilot who dreams of flight, in every young engineer who studies its design, and in every viewer who still gets chills watching it soar across the silver screen. Top Gun: Maverick reignited that spirit in 2022, reminding the world that legends never truly die, they simply evolve. Perhaps that's the enduring message of the F-14 Tomcat, that greatness is not about how long a machine serves, but how deeply it captures the human imagination. So the next time you hear the distant echo of jet engines cutting through the clouds, ask yourself, will we ever again build a fighter that embodies courage, innovation, and soul the way the F-14 Tomcat once did?